Hi there, I'm Paul from Oslo, Norway. Today, I'm down walking by the Oslo Fjord. And I'm Captain Paul, out on my sailboat here on the Oslo Fjord. And today, together, we're going to show you the Oslo Harbor Promenade. This promenade stretches almost 10 kilometers from the west to the east of the Oslo waterfront. A fairly new route, covering an area that not many years ago was largely inaccessible or unattractive to the public due to shipyards, containers and heavy traffic. Today, it's an urban adventure with plenty of world-class architecture, parks, beaches, artworks and residential areas. The route ties together different parts of the city, and the best thing is that these are all accessible to the public. Just one short message from the captain. Please subscribe to my channel, hit the subscribe button. It supports me and my filmmaking. It also keeps you up to date on my newest videos. So thanks a lot for subscribing. Tusen takk. The Harbor Promenade can be walked, biked or sailed. And you can of course pick and choose the parts that interest you the most. It's well marked with orange color found on the docks, benches, signs, and so on. You also find these orange info points, shaped like containers to symbolize the fact that up until recently, many of the areas you walk by used to be container harbors. In total, there are 14 of these info points. And on them, you can find a map of the route and pictures and text about the past, the present and the future, making the promenade into a self-guided walk. They kind of look like lighthouses, good for navigation. I start my walk at info point number 1 and will follow the orange line for almost 10 kilometers. This very first part here of the Harbor Promenade is called Frognerkilen, the Frogner Inlet, which is the very northwest corner of the Oslo Fjord. And right now I'm walking along Frognerstranda, the Frogner beach. And I have the highway on my left hand side, and then I have a lot of harbors on my right hand side. Like me, a lot of people in Oslo, they love boating. So we have some pretty big marinas here. On my port side, you have Kongen, which is the King's Marina, and it's just next to the Harbor Promenade. The Kongen Marina has 9 jetties and 800 berths, and has always been a popular recreational area for the locals, including the royal family. The marina is a great place to soak up some sun, look at boats, fill up your diesel tank, and enjoy a waffle or two. Had to make a short stop here. Probably a good idea to let this guy here pass before me. Next container info point is at Filipstad. Fjord Promenade is still very much under construction. And for example, the area here, which is called Filipstad, is going to be completely transformed. Today it's an industrial part of town. There are warehouses and there are containers out here. And all of this is going to be removed and make place for a whole new part of the city, with the residential buildings, schools, parks, and so on. Sure looking forward to mooring my sailboat over there, those new docks over at Filipstad. I'm putting the highway behind me here now, so it's getting a lot more calm, and I'm coming into a new part of town which is called Brygge, the bay. And this was where the Norwegian oil boom started back in the late 60s. And up here is the next container. The Vika area was an important industrial part of Oslo all the way since the mid-1800s when Aker Mechanics was established here. In 1967, as Norway started looking for oil, the Ocean Viking drilling platform was built here, marking a new era in Norwegian history, the oil era. Today, the industry is gone, but these cranes are still standing, reminding us of the past. Much of the rest, except for some warehouses and brick buildings, have been redeveloped into public areas for hangout, play, exercise, and art. The transformation of Tjuvholmen started in 2005, and walking around here today, it's hard to imagine that this was where they built ships and oil platforms. Today, it has been developed into 3 sections that are divided by canals. There's a lot of great architecture, public art, and around 1,500 people living and 1,700 people working in this area. Tjuvholmen means Thief Island, and has that name because out on this island back in 1600s, it's where they kept prisoners and also carried out executions. Despite of all the fancy housing here, this is all public area, and there's actually a public bath here, so you can just jump straight into the fjord. One of the biggest attractions out here on Tjuvholmen is the Oslo Fjord Museum of Contemporary Art, which I have right over here. Museum of Contemporary Art was designed by famous architect Renzo Piano, and I especially like the roof. It kind of looks like a sail going into the water. What do you think about it? Feel free to leave a comment below. Behind me here now you see Aker Brygge, Aker docks, named after the Aker mechanical workshop that was here. And this was the first area that was redeveloped, and it was done already back in 1998. And today there's tons of shops and restaurants, and it's actually one of the most visited places in Oslo, with as many as 12 million visitors every year. And I'm straight in the ferry line here, so I better get out. Walking off Aker Brygge, you can see the new National Museum on the left, and the City Hall with its 2 towers. At info point number 6, the cartoon gives you an idea of what this area looked like back in the 60s, with plenty of industry and traffic all over. This area is named Vestbanen, the West Tracks, and the old railway building is housing the Nobel Peace Center, well worth a visit. The square of the City Hall is car-free, as it has been since 1994. Did you hear that? That's the untuned bell. The Harbor Promenade houses a lot of great art. This one is called Untuned Bell by Norwegian artist A.K. Dolven. A bell that used to hang up in the bell tower in the City Hall, but lost its place due to being out of tune. The artist rediscovered it several years after it was taken down, and it's now hanging just in front of the City Hall and the Docks of Honor. And every now and then, as the public steps the pedal, chiming in on its own or with its friends in the bell tower. walked off the square of the city hall and I'm walking along Akershusstranda, the beach of Akershus. And Akershus used to be a county, and it's also the name of the fortress which is up there. And then on the other side, I have a great view of the fjord. Along Akershusstranda, you find veteran ships and old sheds along the quay. Many of the sheds have been converted into restaurants, or, like this one, a place for boat builders. This is also where the largest cruise ships dock. I discovered the 7th info point and continue past the Akershus fortress. The fortress is a landmark and a national symbol in Norway. It's also an exciting place to explore, but I'll leave that for another episode. Back in 1999 I was actually in the King's Guard, so I've been standing guard up at the fortress there many times. And if you ever come to Oslo, I'll tell you the story about when I rang the Liberty Bell and I met what I think was a princess up in the top of the tower. It's true. If you wonder about the empty chairs just next to the fortress, this is a memorial remembering the 733 Jews that were deported from Norway during Second World War, just at this spot of the promenade. From this side you can also get a nice view of the islands out in the fjord. This one is Hovedøya, the main island. That's actually where I keep my boat. This area where I'm coming now is called Vippetangen, or just called the Vippa. And just to the right of me here is a fish hall where they receive and process seafood. So it smells a bit fishy here. I think it smells great. I head out to the end of Vippetangen, where you find the Vippa street food market. And after a short rest, I continue the walk. This time I'm on the opposite side of the fortress, heading past the ferries that go to Denmark. If you ever came to Oslo from Copenhagen, you might recognize the pier behind here. That's where the Copenhagen ferry comes in. There is a ferry in the back there, but that's actually a ferry that normally goes to Kiel. But it's not operating now due to COVID, so it's been lying there for almost a year now. I continue towards Langkaia, the long dock, and the 9th container, which is inaccessible due to an upgrade of the promenade. Coming down to an area of Oslo here along the promenade that has been completely redeveloped, and that is the area of Bjørvika. But I'm going to leave that to Captain Paul. I hereby present to you the Opera House. Bjørvika used to be known for its industrial harbor, a big roundabout and heavy traffic. This all changed with the building of the Opera House, which was completed in 2008. Today, it's one of the largest urban development projects in modern-day Norway. One of the most recent new buildings to open was a new public main library. A popular activity is to stroll around on the roof of the Opera House. Here you can enjoy great views of the city, of the Barcode buildings behind, and the new Munch Museum. Behind there is the new neighborhood of Sørenga, which is the direction we're heading next. A lot of visitors to Oslo, they wonder about the floating sculpture in front of the Opera House. And it's a sculpture by Monica Bonvicini, and it's named She Lies. And it's supposed to be like the tip of an iceberg. And it's chained to the bottom of the fjord, so it rotates with the wind and the current. I walk towards the new Munch Museum, which is located just next to the Aker river. The main purpose of this museum is to show the work of the Norwegian painter Edvard Munch. It's set to open up in 2022, and will hold a large collection of his work, including the world-famous Scream. In front of the Monk Museum and next to the Opera House, there is a new beach under construction. Opera Stranda, the Opera Beach, and it's gonna look something like this. I head on towards Sørenga, walking by a few of many public saunas. On my way, I stop to gaze at the new Oslo Bukta, the Oslo Bay neighborhood. This bridge here is very convenient because it takes you across from Bjørvika and right over to the new neighborhood of Sørenga. Sørenga, or the South Meadow, is another old container area that has been redeveloped into a brand new neighborhood by the fjord. It has made place for housing, restaurants, and out at the end you find a beach and a large 5,000 square meter floating park where people come to swim and soak in the sun. This floating dock here, or park, was actually built south of Oslo, and then they just towed it up here. Pretty smart, and it gets really busy in the summertime. On the other side of Sørenga now, walking back again, and I can see container number 13 over there. My last orange container for this walk is at Lohavn, an area that is still not developed. A draft has been made for the redevelopment here, and it includes 200 condos and a school, but nothing seems to be decided yet. Something to look forward to. So I'm sitting here with the info point, container number 13 behind me. However, there's actually 14 of them in total. But I'm gonna leave it to you to find the last one when you come to Oslo. I'll give you a hint though. The number 14 is over there by the other containers. All right, that's it for now. I hope you enjoyed this little trip on the Harbor Promenade. Please hit the like button and subscribe to my channel, and I always like to hear from you, so feel free to leave a comment below. So I'll see you soon. Skip ahoy, ha det bra. Ha det bra, and I'll see you soon again.